fortunate to have two entrepreneurs with us who have been very successful in their respective businesses. We have John Sharpe of StaffSource, a professional recruiting and staffing company that has grown to include multiple subsidiaries, and Larry Bodie of Claris Networks, an IT managed services provider that has grown to include offices in not only Knoxville, but Chattanooga and Nashville as well. So what we're talking about is what it takes to be successful as a business in East Tennessee. And so what is the secret sauce?
Can I let you know when I find that out?
Yeah.
I think what it takes to make it, there's a lot of factors, and there's a lot of people smarter than me that have written a lot of books on this particular topic. For me, he mentioned vision. That's a huge piece, but not only vision, but clarity around who you are and what you do. In addition to that, there's an element of luck, and I think building relationships here with integrity is a huge piece too. And then from there, you obviously got to have something that somebody wants. So, John, you add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I echo what Larry said, and I liked what he talked about. I mean, you got that, initially had that vision, right? So you got that product or service that meets a problem in the marketplace, and then it comes down, in my mind, to model. Do I have a viable model that can generate revenue and create profit? Because as we know, cash and profit is the lifeblood of any entity that is in business. And so, and of course, people, people are critical. I think I know in our organization that's a central focus. I love that Larry used the word clarity. A clear understanding of what an individual's strengths are, what they bring to an entity, and how you can leverage those in a business. And it's a win-win game in that standpoint. An individual obviously is successful in a role, and the business utilizes them to make an impact. So.
Well, in talking to both of you guys, I know we're talking a lot about what it takes to have a successful business in Knoxville and the region, and talking to you guys, it really, being in Knoxville has not been a limiting factor at all. Can you talk a little bit about some of that?
Yeah, sure. So Knoxville is really any city in our state. It's a wonderful place to own and operate a business. Anybody that tells you it isn't is just a victim. We have a lot of great resources here. And so, I believe that you're largely in control of your own destiny. So proper planning, good execution. John mentioned people, but model's important too. I mean, we had a model early on in our business that was extremely hard to sell because it was a technical-based solution. And we meet with typically a C-level type of person, and they don't know any of that stuff. And so we changed our model to where we just ask them how many employees they have, and it's really easy to be able to get budget and move them forward. So
that was fun to watch about your company. I know, obviously we've had a relationship for a long time, and standing outside of it and watching Claris, when you all made that shift in model, boom. I mean, you could almost see the boom kind of take place. And I mean, to me, that's business. That's entrepreneurialism, because I'm sure there was risk, in that shift that you executed, and then of course we do the same on our end. And so
we'll talk about risk. That was something that you talked a lot about when we talked prior about the willingness that you, as an entrepreneur, to take risk, and that's a key to being successful.
No guts, no glory, and that's true. I mean, that's very true. We were talking about it before. If you're not, you got to be willing to be at risk. It's 24/7. It's a lifestyle. And comfortability with that aspect of being an entrepreneur is the centerpiece in my mind. And if you're not, you got to rethink it.
Yeah, employees get to go home and turn it off. We never turn off. You can't. It's kind of hard to explain unless you've been in that situation, but your mind never stops thinking about the business and about your clients and what you could do better and where you're going next. That's why I made the comment, can I let you know when I do make it, because we're so head down just trying to move it forward that the finish line is kind of always moving.
Right.
You cross one threshold and you just move on to the next one.
So talk a little bit about each of your businesses and maybe some of the challenges that you did have to overcome as you were growing.
They evolve. As you lead an entity, it's a game of accepting more sophisticated problems on an increasing basis, right? In my mind, and so whatever that tactical problem is, we had an unprofitable month. We have this individual in our people. We're exposed to this kind of risk. What strategies are we going to employ to mitigate that? Whatever the problem, to me, and I love Larry said. I mean, it comes down to a crossroads. Are you going to accept the challenge, or are you going to find an excuse on why you can't be successful? And that's really it. No matter what the problem tactically turns out to be, it's a way of thinking.
Yeah, I think our biggest challenge, especially as of late, is just finding the right people. John mentioned people in his business, and I know they're very important to him. They are to us too, and we're really picky. And so we've hired 40 people in the last 12 months, and that's hard to do, to find the right person. And so for the first time ever, we've had to engage recruiters like John to help us find the right people.
So having a trained, skilled workforce has been a recent issue for you guys.
Quality decision making is the way I think about it, and really, I mean, it kind of goes back to that playground mentality in my mind. You line two people up, and they start picking that team, and that's the way I see it. And as Larry just suggested, as you build that organization, it's the body and the culture of those people collectively that begin to drive it. And the more talented those individuals are, quite frankly, the more success it yields.
Mm-hmm. And the larger you get, the harder it is to maintain that culture. You're essentially putting that in your employees' hands. They are the culture of the company, and so John and I can influence that, and certainly we do, but at some point you have to have the right people carrying the torch for that. And if you have the wrong ones, your culture changes. It's a big deal.
Now, how many employees do you both have?
We have 20 internal employees and currently 130 or 140 contractors, individuals that we are contracting out.
Yeah, we're right at 100.
So what do you see is the next step for both of you as you look to continue to grow your business?
Growth and market share.
Growth and market
share, and looking forward. You know, the fun thing about being an entrepreneur is you get to create it. Right? We get to create vision, and a lot of people, those 40 people that Larry just talked about hiring, get to participate in that vision. But Larry, and his partner, and of course myself and my team, we have to think forward in that vision and how we look forward into a dynamic and changing marketplace, and create a game plan to go after those growth opportunities and capture more market share. And that's a challenge, right? That takes risk. That's why when I talk to you, the entrepreneur is central to the capitalistic ecosystem, right? That ecosystem we talk about, because you've got to have individuals that are willing to put the money, resources, time on the line in order to invest and build. And so, to me, looking forward, I mean, it's all about growth and market share.
Yeah, growth is a big word for us that we use a lot, but more slower and steadier for us. Technology changes so fast. There are so many things that we could choose to do tomorrow. We have some things we need to kind of work on today. And so we get flooded with tons of, hey, we should use this new technology. We should integrate these cloud services. We should broker between these things. And it would be really easy to get caught up and kind of change gears really quick. There was a time when our company did that. Now's not that time. We stay focused on what we can be really good at and execute that well.
So we have 10 startups who are presenting here today. What are some words of wisdom that you would impart on them and our audience?
Go for it, perseverance. I mean, you know, it's you suggested a second ago, what are the problems and challenges?
Right.
I don't know, but I can guarantee you they're going to have them. And so, why are you in it? Hopefully you bring some passion to the table. And if you've got some passion that will drive you through that perseverance piece. Because it's not, I mean, it's you know, I think the entrepreneur word has gotten pretty sexy in the last, you know, 5 to 7 years, right? And everybody looks at all the good times, but I don't know, I mean, we remember 2009, you know?
Right.
There was a lot of sweating happening in 2009, quite frankly. And so you're going to have some guts, and you're going to have some stick-to-itness through the whole thing.
Yeah, I think about behavior, attitude, and technique. Some picked that up in some training along the way. Might be one or two in the crowd that understand what I'm talking about, but you know, you get to choose your attitude when you get up every day. What kind of behavior are you going to have? What's your attitude for the day? And you're in charge of your own destiny. You can choose to be sour grapes, and maybe this place is not a good place to start a business or operate a business, or you can be largely positive and like John said, go for it and attain your goals.
John, you mentioned 2009. I mean, that was a hard time for a lot of businesses. How do you how did you sleep at night? Or did you? Or how do you address those situations, you know, when those types of challenges, economic, when they present themselves?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Number one, I always sleep at night. You know, I do. I sleep at night. I love what I do. I understand innately that I'm at risk, and I understand with that risk, there's positive and negative consequences. And when markets are contracting at rapid rates, the consequences are clearly negative. So, I mean, in terms of sleeping at night, it is what it is. You know, to address a contraction in market is simply strategy. And collaboration, and seek some mentorship, get some ideas from other people, and make sure that you know what you're doing and you have a clear plan with some focus going forward.
You know, it's interesting you use that kind of time frame as a barometer for struggles. That our business actually thrived during that period because businesses didn't have access to capital, and we're largely an operating expense. So the downturn in the economy actually helped us. But we obviously have a slew of other issues to deal with. And I think what John said is good. You make great plans and you execute those plans, and you sleep well at night knowing that you've done the best you could.
All right. I think we're approaching our time. So is there anything else you guys would like to add?
No.
All right.
You've done it well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you.
We appreciate
right.
the opportunity.
Thank you. All right.